corporate trainer and facilitator certification, certified practitioner coach certification, emotional intelligence trainers and the coach certification, also organizational development and the change management certification, certified leadership and trainer certification. And we also provide customized certification programs as well. So all the programs are accredited by topmost bodies like ICF, International Coaching Federation, SHRM, HRCI, and CPD. And here I'm glad to see many existing students, team members, and the aspiring students of ProTouch who has joined this learning session. Great. So I would like to know from the audience from where you all are joining currently. So you can write in the chat box, and if you want, you can unmute yourself. You can share as well.
Yeah, Akash, and
Great,
yeah, I'm Tejpal Singh from Sri Ganganagar. Right
great,
now, I'm at
great,
Sri Ganganagar, a border town in
great.
Rajasthan.
Yes, 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 yes. I know about that. Great. So
Yeah.
it's from Bangalore, Deepika from Gurugram, and Bangalore, Jyoti. Great. Chennai. Great. Fantastic. So, great. Many more. Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, Jammu, Jammu, I mean from Chennai, Delhi, from further Delhi. Great. Great, fantastic. Again, sir, from Chennai, fantastic. Okay. So first, okay, further. So now let's begin with the session and with Mr. Rahul Sethi, our speaker of today's evening. And here we are honored to have with us Mr. Rahul Sethi, the director and the CEO at ProTouch. Mr. Rahul Sethi is not just a leader, but a trailblazer, recognized as one of the top 200 global thought leaders with an illustrious career spanning executive and team coaching. Mr. Rahul Sethi has helped countless individuals and organizations to unlock their true potential. Mr. Rahul Sethi is an ICF certified professional certified coach PCC and has worked with globally renowned institutions like Marshall Goldsmith and Global Coach Group with expertise in NLP, neuro linguistic program, and as an IBAC certified instructor. Mr. Rahul Sethi is also a highly sought after a corporate trainer. He is a true visionary leader. There is true visionary leadership and relentless pursuit of excellence make them a beacon of inspiration in the corporate training and the coaching world. And we are thrilled to have him here today to share their thoughts, insights, and experience with us about coaching. So let's give a warm and round of applause and welcome Mr. Rahul Sethi.
Thank you, Akash, and a very, very, very good evening to all. Akash has said some very nice thing about me. I don't know how much of that I deserve, but he didn't tell you one thing about one of my weakness. You know what? I can't read minds. So if you'll keep your videos off, there is no way for me to know whether you're getting me on my point or not. So I would request if you can keep your videos on. It will be nice. Sometimes with the body language, it is little easier to make out how much of it you're getting or not. Thank you so much. But if you're traveling or listening to me illegally while driving, please keep your cameras off. And I'm so glad to see many familiar names, our ex-participants. Many of you I have interacted already. Some of you I have met personally during ProConnect events. So glad to meet you all again. And of course, there are a lot of new people I am interacting for the first time. A very warm welcome. It is that time of the year where you kind of reflect and like to spend time. The festivities around, New Year is around the corner, year is going to end, New Year is about to begin. And I'm thankful that you have decided to participate in this webinar. And really appreciate your time. And I would request you to stay back till the end of the webinar because uh, me, along with my team at ProTouch, would like to appreciate your time with us in some form. Yeah. So, Prashant is here. Prashant is one of our PCC participant. He's about to get certified as PCC in the next couple of weeks. Thanks, Prashant, for being here. That's so nice. Your learning agility is still there. So glad that you took out time to participate in this webinar. Thank you. So
I didn't want to miss this opportunity.
so glad to see you. Great. So, friends, let's begin. Uh, Let me share my screen with you and let us straight away dive into our learning journey. Just give me a second. Please feel free to ask questions wherever you have. I'll try to keep it light. This webinar is a little light just to give you a little overview about ICF coaching core competencies. Yeah. But before we get into the core competencies, let us spend some time in understanding what is coaching and where does it really fit in, because there's a lot of confusion people have with respect to what coaching is, in which situation it is required, how it is different from training, etc. So let me cover some parts of that first, and then we will get into the competencies. Okay. So what do you see on the picture? There are some celebrities. I want you to tell me, what do they have in common? You can unmute yourself and talk about it. What do they have in common?
They are winners in their field, in their
Very good.
respective domains.
They are
Thank you, Amrita. They are
champions.
winner in their own ways.
They are champions in respective areas. They are.
Yeah, they are champions in their respective fields.
They are successful in their field.
They are successful in their field. Amar. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
They're leaders
they're
and
able
mentors.
Cheering up their struggles throughout the journey towards achieving their goal.
Very good. They have weathered their struggle and they have braved their struggle and fought it to make it to the top. Very good.
They are able to bring out their best.
Thank you, Hari. They are able to bring out their best. They have one more thing in common. They all have come on record. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, they're best examples in their respective fields.
Absolutely. They are the best examples in their respective field. They have one more thing in common. They all have come on record and given large part of the credit of their success to their coaches. Now, they all have one thing in common. They said that we would not have been where we are if we were not supported by a great coach. Yeah. And it reminds me of a very interesting quote by one of the legend who is also on the screen, Sachin Tendulkar. And someone asked him, what is the importance of a coach in life? And uh, he said a very nice thing, and he said in Hindi, and I'll then translate it in English. He said that अगर आपको गली में खेलना तो कोई कोच की जरूरत नहीं है, but अगर आपको नेशनल चैंपियन बनना है, if you want to play for your country, if you want to be super successful, then you need a coach. If you want to be ordinary, you may not need a coach. But if you want to be really extraordinary, you want to be successful, then you need to be supported by a great coach. Yeah. Superb. So on that note, we all, in some form or the other, developing people. How many of you are formally developing people? How many of you are already training or coaching people? Just put me in the chat box if you're already in the profession of training and coaching. Okay, Sunita is already doing it. Manoj, Shanu, Amog, someone's L&D, thank you. Jyoti is training, someone is training. Omo is under process, and I'm sure you will be one of the great ones. Thank you. All right. So we all, in some form or the other, are involved in developing people. And when we say developing people and make people not only successful, but super successful, which basically say that we are trying to unlock their true potential. We're trying to, in some way or the other, trying to unlock their full potential. Now, whenever we're trying to unlock full potential, in some way, people are undergoing change in the behaviors, change in the skill, and in most of the skills also there is a behavior involved. You know? So suppose even I'm learning anything, there is a change I'm going through in my behavior. And whenever people undergo any form of change, they resist change. Right? People do resist change because that's how the God has made us. Human being by nature resist changes. Now, whenever people are going through the change can either be empowering or exhausting. Change can either be empowering or it can be exhausting. In which situation change is empowering and in which situation it is exhausting? Look at about your own changes and think about events where you felt when you're going through that change it was very empowering, or when you're going through that change it was quite exhausting.
It's empowering when you move towards your pleasure point. It's exhausting when you move away from your pain point.
Sorry, I didn't get you properly, JC.
See, it's empowering when you move towards your pleasure. It's
Oh, very good. Yeah,
enhancing. Yeah, it's exhausting when you try to move away from your pain.
super. Anyone else would like to contribute?
Also, if I have a vision in front of me, and if I'm moving towards my vision, maybe that is more empowering. If I'm able to show the person that this is a vision, you're going towards it, then maybe it is more empowering.
Super. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Umu.
Yeah, I feel when we get that success and we feel it is going smoothly without any hurdles, it's empowering. We feel it is encouraging. And when we
Mm,
feel exhausted, when we feel that nothing is working, everything is
mm,
stopped, everything is having a hurdle, we feel exhausted and irritated.
super. So let's build on Umu's scenario. If you look at super successful people, before they reach success, they would have failed so many times. Yeah. But they still kept going. What made them kept going? Yeah. The primary difference between empowering and exhausting is the difference of want to versus have to. When I want to make that change, it is empowering. When I have to make a change, it is exhausting. When I say have to, which means it is forced on me. Say, for example, suppose I am 10 kgs overweight, about my normal weight. If I want to reduce weight and I feel I should be reducing it, it is empowering. I hit the gym every day. But if doctor tells me that you're 10 kgs overweight, you better be running, it is forced on me. Many a times it becomes exhausting because I have to do it. And as great L&D professionals, one of our responsibility is how can we make the entire change process empowering? How do we make the change process empowering? And if we are able to make it empowering, where the person say, I want to do it. I want to learn this skill. I want to change this behavior. I want to lose weight. I want to be successful. I want to. And, someone decided, I want to make an aircraft. Now, the Wright brothers, thousands of times they failed, but they wanted to do it. And they kept on going. Yeah. So our job as L&D professionals is to make the entire change process empowering. Yeah. Are you with me, friends? Are you clear what I'm explaining till here? Yeah. Just give me a thumbs up if you're with me. If my language is clear to you, if my voice is clear to you. Super. Thank you. And I see someone was riding a bicycle, so riding a motorbike. So you don't give a thumbs up. Drive safely, or look at the recording later on. All right. So as I told you, then, there is something called as nature. The way God has made all of us, human being by nature, resist changes. Yeah. Now, the degree of change can vary, but by nature, we all resist changes. The resistance to change is at 3 levels. There are 3 levels of resistance to change. Yeah. The level 1 resistance to change is I don't get it, which means I don't know how to do it. I want to delegate, but I don't know how to delegate. I want to eat healthy, but I don't know anything about healthy food. I want to be better at time management, but I don't know the right time management techniques, which means I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. That is the level 1 resistance to change. Level 2 resistance to change is I know how to do it, but I don't enjoy doing it. I know if I have to lose weight, I have to go to gym, but I don't enjoy the process of gym. Yeah? I don't like doing it. I know if I delegate, I will become a better leader, but I don't enjoy the process of delegating. Yeah. The third level of resistance to change is I don't trust. Yeah. And don't think it is quite uncommon. It's a very, very common resistance to change. I don't trust. I don't trust that by doing this, it is going to be helpful for me. I don't trust my team is ready for it. I don't trust that person is on my side. I don't trust, and there was a very interesting saying I picked up uh, from one of the ex-servicemen, who moved from services to the corporate world. And I said, what's the biggest difference you have seen, between armed forces and the corporate world? He said, in armed forces, at least you know on which side your enemy is. Yeah. And he said it's very difficult to make that in the corporate world because people go through those trust issues. I don't trust the process. I don't trust the person. I don't trust the system. I don't trust the change. I don't think so. AI is going to be helpful for HR professionals. I don't trust. Yeah. And so what are the 3 levels? Level 1 is I don't know how to do it. I don't get it. Level 2 is I don't like doing it. And level 3 is I don't trust this change. Now, whenever someone is going through a level, and there was a message in the chat, can you tell level 1 again? I'm not able to pick up your name because on my screen it says 1 plus CPH 2569. I'm sure it's not your name. If you can just rename yourself so that I can call you with the right name. All right. So whenever people are going through the level 1 resistance to change, yeah. Yogesh, thank you, Yogesh. Whenever someone is going through level 1 resistance to change, we can teach them, we can train them, we can mentor them. Because someone does not know how to do it. So we can teach them how to do it. We can train them how to do it. We can mentor them how to do it. Right? But if someone is going through a level 2 or level 3 resistance to change, which means person know how to do it, but the person is not enjoying the process of doing it, or the person does not trust that this change is going to be helpful for him, his organization, his department, his society, his country, etc., etc. When people are going through level 2 or level 3 resistance to change, many times we all make a mistake. We keep telling them and convincing them. Yeah. Well, what are you telling? The person already know about it. Say, for example, if someone does not trust the process of delegation, we keep telling, no, please understand the importance of delegation. People say, well, I know how to do it. Let me give you an example on this. I train a lot of corporate executives. And sometimes people come to me and say, I want to get trained on, say, delegation. I generally say, okay, fine. Before I start coaching you on delegation, can you write me an email? What is your understanding about delegation and how to delegate? Well, I can share one of the email with you. I was pleasantly surprised. I think this person can write a book on delegation. But the person is struggling to delegate. Why? Because the person is going through a level 2 or level 3 change. The person can train people on how to delegate, but person cannot delegate himself or herself. Yeah. So that is because the person is going through a level 2 or level 3 change. So whenever a person is going to a level 2 or level 3 resistance to change, that is the time coaching comes into play. That is the time the coaching can address these resistance to change. That is where the full potential of an individual gets unlocked, where the person know how to do it, person is enjoying doing it, and person trust that this change is going to be helpful for me. When all of these three things happen, that is the time when the true potential of any individual gets unlocked. Because the person believe that it is helpful for him. And belief is very powerful. Belief can make people go from minus infinity to plus infinity in 0 seconds. Because it's a shift in the mind. Yeah. Now, and this is where the power of coaching is. Now, what is coaching? And the way ICF defines it, ICF is International Coaching Federation, and I'll talk about that as well. ICF defines coaching as partnering. It defines it as partnering. No one is above or below the other person. It is partnering with the client. Uh, some of you may want to call it as coachee, but in the coaching world, we generally person getting coached, we call them as client. That's a normal nomenclature that is used. So there is coach and there's a client. You may choose to call them as coachees in the corporate environment, which is okay. So it is partnering with a client in a thought-provoking. You make someone think in a thought-provoking and creative process. Why creative process? Because this process is about generating new ideas. It is thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them. That inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Yeah? So coaching is defined as partnering with a client in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Yeah. Now, in the world of coaching, the apex body, and thankfully there is one, because in many fields there is none. But in coaching, there is, thankfully. In the coaching world, the International Coaching Federation is known as the top authority representing the highest standard in professional coaching. If you want to coach in the corporate world or even individual, many people will ask, are you ICF certified coach or not? Because that gives you that authority, because their mechanism of certifying coaches is so strict and the process is so methodical that if you are certified by ICF, it itself is a big testimony that your coaching capabilities and coaching skills are far superior. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So the way it is done is it is done through there's something called as ICF credentials. Now, ICF certify professional basis what level of skills they are exhibiting. They give credential at 3 level, which is called as ACC, PCC, and MCC. ACC stands for Associate Certified Coach, PCC stands for Professional Certified Coach, and MCC stands for Master Certified Coach. And there are different requirements, when you apply for ICF credentials. Now, what is required to become an ICF certified, either ACC, PCC, or MCC? Just a quick overview, and then we get into some competencies. So this is a quick chart for you. For if you want to become an ACC, for example, then you need to be trained by a trainer who's approved by ICF for minimum 60 hours. So you have to get trained to be a coach for 60 hours. You need to be mentored by a registered mentor for 10 hours. And you need to be your coaching sessions need to be evaluated for the competencies, and that is where we'll come to competencies. So during these coaching sessions, which you record and submit for evaluation, the competencies are measured. that how proficient you are in each of those competencies. Then you need to practice to be a coach, like you need to fly for certain number of hours before you get a flying license. Similarly, you have to coach for certain number of hours before uh, you get certified as a coach. And then you have to write something called as ICF credentialing exam. If you want to know more about it, how these three level work, etc., what I can do is after this session, we can share you one of the other webinar I conducted where I've given these more in detail about how you can go for ACC, ICF, ACC, PCC, and MCC. So there is a 1 hour webinar which you can go through it if you are interested. But the way you are evaluated, the way you are trained and evaluated to be a coach by ICF is through something called as competencies. Yeah. Now, on that note, if there are any questions I can address, otherwise we get into looking at what are the ICF core competencies that they look at to be a great coach. Any questions? Let me take a pause here and see if there are any questions. Okay, so if you have any questions as I keep talking, you can keep putting in the chat box. I can take it up from there. Yeah, or you can just raise hand. Now let's look at what are ICF core competencies. Now there are 8 competencies on which you are trained to be a coach and evaluated as a coach, which are called as ICF coaching core competencies. Now, what are they? So the first one is whether the coach can demonstrate ethical practice, whether the coach embodies a coaching mindset, which means do you have a mindset of a coach, and we will double click on each of these boxes over the next 15 odd minutes. Establishes and maintains agreements, cultivate trust and safety with the client, maintains presence, listen actively, evokes awareness, and eighth is facilitate clients' growth. So these are 8 ICF core competencies which make someone a great coach and is also mandatory requirement to become a ICF certified coach. Now, suppose you're becoming a PCC certified, Prashant is becoming, you go through 125 hours of training to be a coach and then demonstrate these competencies in your coaching evaluation, which are ethical practice, coaching mindset, maintains presence, um, establish and maintain agreement, cultivate trust and safety, listens actively, evoke awareness, and facilitate clients' growth. What we can now do is over the next 15 minutes, we will double click on each of these boxes and give you a little more insight on each of these competency and what do they mean. We'll not go through the entire program, but just to give you a quick overview. So first one is demonstrate ethical practice, which basically talks about whether the coach understand and consistently applies coaching ethics and standard of coaching. Does the coach has familiar with ICF code of ethics and its application required for all levels of coaching? Now, there are 2 important questions that we are trying to answer when someone is demonstrating ethical practice. One is whether the coach demonstrate alignment with ICF code of ethics, and coach demonstrate consistency and consistent alignment with the role of a coach. Now, let me give you a couple of examples to share this. Now, let's look at the first example. Suppose you're coaching a client, and the client says that he has been extremely depressed for 6 months, crying all the time, feels like he is moving in a cloud that is getting darker and darker and cannot seems to shake the feeling no matter what he does. Now, if the client is saying something like this, what does it indicate? Yes, Saurabh.
It probably means that the person needs more of therapy than coaching.
I can't hear your voice properly.
Yeah. Can you now?
I can hear you, but I think your voice is breaking.
I was just saying that he probably needs therapy than coaching.
Very good. Very good. So this person may possibly need a therapy rather than coaching, because always remember, coaching is a developmental activity and not a cure. And if at any stage you feel that this is beyond the coach, and you need to understand what are the coaching boundaries. And if this is going beyond the coaching boundaries, and if you feel that there is any symptom of anxiety or depression that the person is going through, not a good idea to coach. You have to guide that person to the right professional so that the person can get the right professional help. So that is about knowing the boundaries. Let's look at the second example. The client doesn't know how to move forward in recruiting a new members for his network. Coach asks the client to create the list, and the conversation is open question, eliciting solutions from the client. Yeah. Now, the important point to note here is coach asks the client to create. Well, when you are asking someone to create, you are directing, yeah, and not partnering. So these are some of the ways where it is checked whether you're so first one is an example of demonstrating ethical practice, and the second one is, are you in the role of a coach consistently? Yeah. So this is just to give you that example of how do you demonstrate ethical practice. Now let's look at the second one, which is embodies a coaching mindset. Whether the person is having a mindset of a coach. Whether the coach embodies a coaching mindset, a mindset that is open, curious, flexible, and client-centered, is a process that requires ongoing learning, development, establishing a reflective practice, and preparing for session. Well, this can be demonstrated over the course of the professional journey as a coach and cannot be fully captured in any single moment. So whenever you are coaching someone, the competency that is exhibited is the coach open or closed about what is getting discussed? Is the coach really curious about what the client situation is the coach flexible and adapting itself to the client's requirement? Well, if you're demonstrating that, you are demonstrating a coaching mindset which is more open, curious, and flexible. Yeah. Saurabh is asking a great question. Saurabh, what's your question here on the first competence?
I'm outside actually.
Okay. So fine, no problem.
Yeah, I was just asking that what is unethical? I mean, we understand what's unethical, but what could be really unethical because the person is seeking help and we are ready to help, but it does not come under the purview of coaching. So, what would be unethical here? To continue the coaching practice?
Yeah. So
We
there,
should
let me give you two, three. So there are, so for that, I think you need to first go through all the code of ethics as far as the coaching is concerned. But let me give you some 2, 3 examples to make you more clear. Say, for example, one is knowing the coaching boundaries. Okay. Say, for example, someone is saying, well, you are talking to the client and the client is, you say, what do you want to discuss with me today in the coaching session? And the client says, for example, well, I'm planning to kill my brother. And that is what I want to discuss with you. Yeah. Well, this is, forget about the coaching boundaries. It is not even come into the legal boundaries of the country. Yeah. Now, if you still go ahead and coach that person, it is unethical, isn't it? Yeah. Not only unethical, it's illegal also because you're partnering in a crime. Yeah. Other unethical could be someone is, you have realized that because here the point that was mentioned, and let me go through that example once again. Client is saying that I keep crying all the time. And if you are sensing someone that, it's not a normal human behavior that someone keeps crying all the time, and for no reason, if someone starts crying, which means, that the person needs a professional help, which is beyond a coach. A person needs possibly a mental wellness professional who's trained to deal with this situation. A coach may not be trained to deal with this situation. Yeah, so that's, if you're still coaching, well, you are, being unethical. One of the other example of unethical could possibly be the conflict of interest. Okay. Say, for example, uh, someone said that, well, I want to discuss with you that, how do I deal with a particular situation? And you are also interested party in that situation. Yeah. Well, you should then declare and voluntarily opt out of that session, because you can't be, because if you know that you will not be able to neutral because you know something about that situation that can impact the entire coaching outcome. Yeah, then that's again is unethical. Are you clear with me, Saurabh, now? Are you getting some more examples on this? And when you go through these training programs of becoming a coach, these all things are discussed more in detail. And that's the reason training is of 125 hours. Because each of these competencies, which I'm just giving you overview right now, are discussed a lot more in detail. Yeah. All right. So let's move ahead. The third one, which is establishes and maintains agreement. Whenever a coach is coaching, what basically is seen is, are both coach and coachee clear about what is the coaching topic, what will be the coaching process, and what are the expected outcomes? And they need not to be only clear, but has the coach partnered with the client to reach these agreements? Okay. Say, for example, the client comes and tells that I want to discuss with you how to have a better work-life balance. Yeah. Now, if I ask 10 people in this group right now, if I ask 48 people, there are 48 of us in this webinar right now, and if I ask 48 participants, what do you mean by work-life balance? And I can guarantee we will get 48 answers. Because what everyone's understanding and interpretation of words can be very different from other. For me, work-life balance could be spending quality time with my team members at work and also with my family at home. For someone, it could be following a passion. For the third person, it could be traveling apart from work. So it could mean different things to different people. So has the coach partnered with the client to reach on a common page, saying, what are we discussing? What is the process that we will follow? And what is the expected outcome? Yeah. So that's the competency number 3, establishes and maintains agreement. The fourth one is cultivate trust and safety. Is the coach able to create an environment where the client is feeling safe, supportive, and is able to share freely whatever they want to share without having any fear of being judged or used or misused for any information that is getting discussed or shared? So is there a fair amount of safety net and trust and safety that has been created by the coach during the session, and is the client able to freely discuss whatever they have to discuss? So that's cultivate trust and safety, which is competency number 4. Moving on, which is the next competency, and competency number 5. I think Yogesh is asking you a question. Let me just take that. Sure, I will do that. So he's saying Mr. Adani has given a great. See, everyone has their own opinion on work-life balance. Now, there is nothing right or wrong, and that's the beauty of coaching. In coaching, there is nothing right or wrong. Whatever client believes is right is right. Whatever client believes is right because it is right from their lens. And whenever we are coaching, we are always coaching from the lens of a client. We are always coaching from the lens of a client, you know, from their lens, their situation, and not what anyone else on this world will, think and have an opinion about that area. And that's the beauty of coaching. Uh, yeah, super, Shogesh. So I think thanks for sharing the information, and I will definitely listen to what he said. If it is out of the box, maybe it is useful. Yeah, super. So, and thanks for your contribution on that, Yogesh. Now coming to the competency number 5, which is maintains presence. Is coach able to maintain presence during the coaching session? Because there are many moments where is coach able to hold space for the client in, say, possibly the weaker moments? Say, for example, client has may become emotionally charged or reactive. Sometimes people in the coaching session get, really emotionally charged. And is the coach able to hold the space for the client in that moment? Yeah. Similarly, is the coach being appreciative of uh, the cultural context of the client, their identity, their perception, their methodologies, their styles of discussion, and the way they approach to the whole situation? Broadly, is the coach able to maintain the presence as a coach with the client? Which is competency number 5. That's maintains presence. Moving on, which is the next competency, listens actively. Now let's look at what is listens actively. Now, listen actively is different from active listening. So, listen actively is slightly beyond active listening. It is listening at 3 levels. Listen to what is being said, listen to what is not being said, and listen to emotions. When you are listening to what is being said, what is not being said, and you're listening to emotion, that is the time you are listening actively. But if you're only listening to understand, then you are actively listening. Yeah? You have to do that. You have to listen, but also have the ability to construct your questions, comments, and observation from what you are listening. One is you have understood, but after understanding, are you able to formulate your questions, observations from what you have heard? So that's listen actively, and I always give one of my childhood example on this of what active listening could be. You want to listen to this story? Just give me a thumbs up if you want to listen to this. Well, I was a small boy. I was in a school. One of the summer afternoon, I was playing outside my home with my friend. I had a neighborhood friend. His name was Akhil, and he had a beautiful sister. Her name was Bharti. And one day, me and Akhil were playing outside. And in those days, summer afternoon, in those days, my dad used to come home for lunch. So one summer afternoon, he came home and he was parking his scooter and he saw me and Akhil playing outside. And he was aware that on that day, results were supposed to get declared in school. Yeah. So while he was parking his scooter, he asked Akhil, Akhil, what happened to the results? You know what Akhil answered? He said, Bharti also failed. Now, this is a great example. But what Akhil said? Akhil said Bharti also failed. What he did not say.
That he failed.
Yeah. So this is listen to what is not being said. Whenever you ask your South team why the performance is down, they'll say West is also struggling.
Okay.
Yeah. This is, you have to, when you're listening as a coach, you have to listen to what is being said, listen to what is not being said, and listen to emotions. Now coming to competency number 7, which is evokes awareness. And as a coach, do you have the capability to find new insights from the client by making them think. And how do you evoke awareness? By asking powerful questions, silence, metaphor, analogies, giving space, uh, having patience, and ability to listen and ask powerful questions that challenges clients from their current level of thinking to the new level of thinking. Because whenever someone is undergoing a change, what is basically happening? Someone is at point A, someone want to go to point B. Now there is something stopping that person from going to point A to point B, which is called as those roadblocks. Now, can you ask questions in the way that the client is able to figure out how to remove those roadblocks and enable that person to go to point B? Fundamentally, that is coaching. I am somewhere in my life today and I want to go to somewhere else. Now, but there's obviously something stopping. Otherwise, I would have gone there by now. Now, what is stopping and how can you help your client to find answers to how they can achieve it? Last but not the least is facilitates clients' growth, which basically mean that whether the coach can partner with the client to transform whatever they have learned into an action plan. And at the same time, can they promote clients' autonomy in the coaching process? Let the client choose how they want to proceed. And one of the most powerful questions I also ask many people, how would you like to proceed? Because that is empowering. Give a choice to them. How would they like to move ahead in life? Broadly, three things are happening at this stage, which is reflecting on what is being discussed, what are the clients learning from it, what actions they would like to take, basis what they have learned, and uh, how will they like to progress in the coaching session or in the coaching journey. Yeah. So these are the 8 core competencies, although I've explained you in 15 minutes, but to understand them fully, it takes anywhere between 80 to 120 hours. Yeah. And that's where the training of becoming a coach is. Let's quickly recap. The first one is, and after that, we have something very interesting to share with you. So please stay back. Uh, First is demonstrate ethical practice, embodies a coaching mindset, establishes and maintains agreement, cultivate trust and safety, maintains presence, listen actively, evoke awareness, and facilitate clients' growth. So these are the 8 competency, and this is what I wanted to share with you. Happy to take your questions, clarifications, or comments, if any, before we get into something which is really, really interesting. Any questions, clarifications, comments? Yes, Zahira?
Yeah, Rahul sir. I had a question when you mentioned that the client is always right. There's no right or wrong, kind of. Yeah, accepted that. But suppose you do feel that the client is going in a wrong track, and you really want to, you're like you feel that you should mention something that no, this is not like it's to be done like this or that. Of course, you cannot direct it, but is there anywhere where we can divert the client towards some more without them feeling they're directed, knowing that it would be better for them? So how do you tackle a situation like that?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, and there can be situations where, this is a classic situation where it is coach is trying to hold himself or herself within the coaching boundaries. Because as a coach, uh, you cannot do it. Okay. Well, you cannot direct. Now, your question is very valid. Is there a way where you can do it without directing? Well, there is a way, which is by offering. Okay.
Okay.
But you should only do it as you can offer it. Would you like to consider? Now and then give a choice to the client whether they want to consider or not. Now, what happens many a times is people give a suggestion and then they fall in love with their own suggestion. Well, that's not okay. If you're giving a suggestion, leave it to the other person's good judgment to see whether they want to or they don't want to.
So there is a way that you can always ask
There is
if they feel that, yeah, they want to take it. Otherwise, just leave it as long as you have offered the.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, everyone, this is Dr. Aparna Sethi, and I hope you had a good session today. Show me thumbs up, thumbs down, clapping, anything, whatever you want to do. And very important, on behalf of entire ProTouch team, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining on such a New Year Eve, that shows your hunger to learn. And we really don't want to disappoint you. So there are certain things we decided to give you as a gift. Are you ready? Right? So here, Rahul, I was talking to Rahul, and Rahul has promised us that he will have now the series of coaching webinars for all of us once in a month. Isn't it wonderful? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because will have Tejpal. So nice to see you here. Right. So I'm giving you, I have 3 things for all of you. So stay tuned. What is it? I want all the coaching community should be at one place. Okay. Coaches are from a very different, I will say they are very different breeds, right? They need to be at one place. So we decided to have one coaching community, everyone. And we have created one WhatsApp group where we will be keep sharing no motivational messages, no good night and good morning messages, only related to coaching. So if you're interested, I'm sharing the link with all of you. Please join the coaching community, everyone. I'm giving you 1 or 2 minutes, and it's not compulsory. It is only the knowledge sharing which we will be doing with each other, right? So this is one thing I would like to share that, let's stay together in 2025, with like-minded people. Yes, I hope you are done. I will keep seeing. Akash will show me thumbs up that, Akash, if you can see people joining in, you can show me thumbs up, please.
Yes, ma'am. So many.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. Now, the next thing what I would like to share it with all of you is we are going to have the next webinar on, on coaching, which will happen in the next year. That is 27th of December. Not December, 27th of January. You can join that by registering on this link. Okay. Isn't it wonderful? So now we are taking commitment from Rahul that yes, koi problem nahi hai, Shalini, if you are not a coach right now. You want to have knowledge is very important, and that's the reason you should join. Okay? So join in. Hold on to your really wonderful other thing. You can do that. You can register so that what will happen, you will be in the series and learning will be on, right? Of course, there is no other way to get the best knowledge is a certification. However, we would like to share it with you. Now, I'm giving you one opportunity for all of you, and which is a wonderful opportunity. If you have liked the session, and it's not a compulsion, if you